I found the ring in the trash. It was my wedding ring, a simple gold band. I wore it every day for 8 years. I looked at it, sitting there next to a banana peel and a crumpled receipt, and I couldn't breathe. My hands started to shake. Nathan said he lost it. That was last week. He laughed and said, "Maybe it slipped off at the gym." I believed him. I always believed him. But there it was, in the kitchen trash, inside our home. I stood in the middle of the kitchen, frozen. The fridge was humming. Sophie's school drawing was still hanging on the door. A house, a son, 3 people holding hands. Her family, her little world. I used to think my world was safe, quiet, small, but good. A warm cup of coffee in the morning, Nathan kissing my forehead before work, our daughter laughing in the backyard. That was the picture I held in my heart. But now, everything started to crack the day I got the call. The hospital. They said, "We need you to come back in." Something in my chest. They used words like biopsy and stage. I told Nathan. His face went pale. He held me, said we'd fight this together. I needed to believe that. Then the changes came fast. He stopped looking me in the eye. He started working late again. Then came the lies. Small ones, but sharp. And now this. My ring. Thrown away like it meant nothing. I didn't cry. Not yet. I picked it up with a paper towel. My hand was cold. I felt cold all over, like the air had gone still. I kept hearing Sophie's voice from last night. "Daddy said he loves someone, but it's not you, Mommy." I didn't ask more. I just smiled and tucked her into bed. But now I knew. That smile was the last lie I ever told. And this is how the truth began. It started with a sharp pain in my chest. It came and went like a wave. At first, I thought it was just stress. I had been working late on some art pieces. Sophie had caught a cold. Nathan was always gone. Life felt heavy. But one morning, I woke up and the pain was still there. It ran down my left side. My fingers felt numb. I stood in front of the mirror. My skin looked pale. My eyes looked tired. I knew something wasn't right. I went to the doctor that afternoon, a small clinic near our house in Austin. The nurse was kind. She asked me many questions. Then came the blood work. Then the scans. They called me 2 days later. "Can you come in to talk?" The voice on the phone said. I remember sitting in the small white room. The lights buzzed overhead. A clock ticked too loud. The doctor walked in with a paper in his hand. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "It's breast cancer," he said. "Stage 2. My heart didn't stop, but it felt like it did. He explained a lot of things. Treatment, time, cost, risks. He said they found it early. He said that was good. I nodded like I understood, but I didn't. The only thing I could think of was Sophie. And Nathan. Would they be okay? Would I? When I told Nathan that night, he didn't say much. He just looked at me, then looked away. He sat still for a while, then said, "We'll get through this." But something in his voice was different. It was flat, empty. He didn't hold me that night. He turned his back to me in bed. I stared at the ceiling, trying not to cry. The next morning, I found him standing outside with his phone. He was whispering. When he saw me, he smiled too fast. "I was just talking to work," he said. "But work doesn't make you smile like that." And that's when I knew something else was coming. Something worse than cancer. Nathan changed after that night. He said all the right things, but something was missing. His eyes, his voice, his touch. I could feel it. He was pulling away. At first, I blamed the cancer. Maybe it scared him. Maybe he didn't know how to deal with it. So I gave him space. I told myself, he's tired. He's stressed. He'll come back to me. But he didn't. He stopped asking about my doctor visits. He forgot to pick up my meds one time. I had to walk 3 blocks in the heat to get them myself. When I got home, he was sitting on the couch, laughing at something on his phone. He didn't even look up. That night, he said he had to go to Dallas for work. I asked, "How long?" He said, "Just 2 days." But he didn't come home for 5. He texted once, "Busy with meetings. Sorry." That was it. Sophie started to ask, "Is Daddy mad at you?" I told her, "No, baby. Daddy's just busy." But even she could feel it. Then something strange happened. One morning, while getting Sophie ready for school, she said something I'll never forget. "Daddy told someone on the phone that he misses her, but he didn't say your name." I stopped brushing her hair. My hands went cold. I asked, "What do you mean?" She shrugged. "I think her name is Lisa. I heard it." I didn't say a word. I just kissed the top of her head and told her to get her shoes. When Nathan came back that night, I watched him. Every move, every smile, every word. He smelled different, like a woman's perfume. His shirt was too clean, too new. His bag was packed too well. He said, "I'm tired, going to bed." I said nothing, but inside, something broke, quiet, like glass under water. And in that quiet, I made a promise to myself. If he was going to leave me, I wanted to see it with my own eyes. The next day, I waited until Nathan left for work. I didn't cry. I didn't shake. I just waited for the sound of the front door closing. Then I went to the bedroom. His phone wasn't there. He never left it behind, but his laptop was. I opened it. I didn't know what I was looking for. I just followed the feeling in my chest. It didn't take long. There were emails, dozens, most of them to one name, Lisa Harper. The first one went back 4 months, the day after my second round of chemo. She wrote, "I can't stop thinking about last night." He answered, "Me too." It felt real. I needed that. I sat on the floor. I read every word. I saw the pictures. Her hand in his, her coffee on his desk, her head on his shoulder in a hotel room I had never seen. I wasn't angry, not yet. I was something worse. I was numb. How can a person love you, sleep beside you, raise a child with you, then throw it all away? How can they smile at your face while hiding their heart in someone else's hands? I didn't tell him I knew, not right away. I watched, I listened, I became quiet, still. I wanted to see how far he would go, how deep the lie would run. 3 days later, he told me he had to fly to Dallas again. A weekend trip, just work. I packed his bag for him. I kissed his cheek. I said, "Be safe." And as I closed the front door behind him, I whispered to myself, "I hope she's worth it." That night, I went to the trash to throw away some mail, and that's when I saw it. My wedding ring. No note, no words, just gold and dirt and silence. And I knew he wasn't coming back. Not really, not ever. 3 days passed, then 5. Nathan didn't come home. He sent one message, "Need more time. Don't wait up." That was it. Nothing about me, nothing about Sophie. I kept her busy, took her to school, cooked simple meals, read bedtime stories with a smile that didn't reach my eyes. She asked where Daddy was. I said, "He's working." She looked at me, then looked away. She knew I was lying. On the 6th night, I got a knock on the door. I thought it might be him. I even fixed my hair before opening it. But it wasn't Nathan. It was a woman, middle-aged, brown coat, tired eyes. She asked, "Are you Emily Clark?" I said yes. She handed me a paper. "From the county office," she said. I looked down. It was from a lawyer. A request to discuss future separation and financial agreement. I didn't cry. Not yet. I thanked her, closed the door, and sat on the stairs. The paper felt heavy in my hand. He didn't even come back to say it. He sent a stranger. That night, I didn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling again. Every breath felt sharp, like the air itself hurt. Around 3 a.m., Sophie called from her room. She had a bad dream. I lay next to her, held her hand, and listened to her breathe. She whispered, "I want Daddy to come home." I kissed her cheek. "Me too, baby." But I knew he wouldn't. The next morning, I found an email in my inbox from Nathan. It was cold, like a receipt. He said he was moving forward with Lisa. He said he was sorry. He hoped we could stay kind. Kind? He left me during cancer, left his child, left our life. And now he wanted kindness? I stared at the screen. Then I stood up. I put on my shoes, and I went outside to feel the sun. Even if my world had broken, the sun still rose, and I was still here. I stopped treatment for a while. I didn't tell my doctor. I didn't tell anyone. I just stopped. My body felt tired all the time, my heart even more. What was the point? The man I loved had left. The life I built had burned down. My little girl still smiled, but even she could see I was fading. The house got quiet, too quiet. Dishes stacked in the sink, mail piled up. The plants by the window dried out. My hair kept falling. I started wearing hats even inside. Then one day, I fainted in the kitchen. It wasn't loud. I just slipped, hit the floor near the fridge. I woke up minutes later, cheek against the cold tile. My arms felt weak. My eyes burned. I stayed on the ground for a long time. That evening, I called one person I never thought I'd call. Maggie, my best friend from college. We hadn't spoken in years. She lived in New York. Busy life. Big job. But when she heard my voice, she didn't ask questions. She said, "I'll be on the first flight out." She came the next day. Maggie didn't ask much. She just hugged me. Then she cleaned the kitchen, made soup, and helped Sophie with her homework, like she'd lived there all along. The house felt less empty. That night, after Sophie went to sleep, Maggie sat beside me on the couch. She looked me in the eye and said, "You're not allowed to die from this. Got it?" I smiled just a little. "I don't want to die," I said, "but I'm so tired." She took my hand. "Then let me help carry some of it." Maggie stayed with us for 3 months. She became part of our small world. She took Sophie to school. She drove me to doctor visits. She made me laugh again, even when I didn't want to. With her help, I started treatment again. The days were still hard, but I felt less alone, less broken. One morning, she walked into my room and placed a small notebook on my lap. "Write," she said. "Anything, everything, just write." So I did. I wrote about pain, about Nathan, about fear, about how it felt to be invisible. Then I wrote about Sophie, about her drawings, her laugh, her love. I wrote until my hands hurt. One night, Maggie read a few pages and smiled. "You should share this," she said. "Someone out there needs to hear this." I didn't believe her. Not at first. But she helped me post one video, a simple one. Just me, reading from the notebook. I called it, "What Cancer Took and What It Couldn't." That video reached 1,000 views in 3 days. Then 10,000. Then 50. People wrote to me. Women, men, young, old. They said, "Thank you for speaking the words I couldn't." Some sent flowers. Some sent letters. Some just wrote, "You helped me breathe today." A local store in Austin heard about the video and asked if I wanted to display some of my art. I hadn't painted in a long time, but something inside me woke up. I opened the box under my bed. It held my old brushes, my colors, my memories. And I painted again. The first piece was called "Still Here." A woman standing in the rain. No umbrella, no shoes. Just standing, head high, eyes open. I didn't make it to be pretty. I made it to be true. That day, I looked in the mirror and saw someone I hadn't seen in a long time. She was tired, but she was standing, and that was enough. It was a rainy Sunday when Nathan came back. He didn't call first. He just knocked. I opened the door and saw him standing there with wet hair and tired eyes. He looked older, like the weight of something had finally caught up with him. I didn't say a word, just waited. He cleared his throat. "Can I come in?" I didn't move. "Why?" He looked down. Lisa left. Said I wasn't the man she thought I was. I crossed my arms. She was right. He laughed a little, but it was hollow. Then he looked up. I miss Sophie. I paused. That name still hit deep, but not for him, for her. She's at school, I said. You can come back at 5. You get 1 hour. That's it. He nodded. I understand. Before he walked away, he turned back. I'm sorry, Emily. I was a coward. I didn't reply. I closed the door. That evening, he came back. Sophie ran to him. She still loved him. Of course she did. Children love with no walls. They played cards, laughed. He helped her with her spelling words. For a moment, it looked like the old days. But I knew better now. After she went to bed, he stayed in the kitchen. I handed him a cup of tea. He said, I wish I had stayed. You didn't deserve any of it. I sat across from him. No, I didn't, but I lived through it. He looked at me like he was seeing me for the first time. You're stronger now. No, I said. I was always strong. You just didn't see it. He left without asking to stay, and I didn't invite him to. As I washed the cups, I felt something strange. Peace. Not joy, not pain, just peace. And it was more than enough. 1 year passed. I didn't count the days. I counted the steps. 1 step to the doctor, 1 step to Sophie's school, 1 step to the store. Each step was mine. By spring, I was in remission. The doctor smiled when he said it. I didn't cry. I just nodded. Then I walked outside, sat in my car, and let the sun warm my face. I was still here. People from town started to ask if I'd open a studio. I said yes, not for the money, but for the space. A space where others like me, tired, hurt, healing, could walk in and feel seen. I called it Canvas of Courage. It was small, 1 room, white walls, soft lights, a table with tea, paint on shelves, a space for truth. At first, only a few people came, then more. Some painted, some just sat, some cried, and no one had to say why. I put my own work on the wall, pieces from my pain, my hope, my fire. 1 picture showed a woman with no hair, standing in a storm, holding a paper heart, the title, Still Worthy. One afternoon, a local reporter came by. She asked for my story. I said, it's not about cancer. It's about being left behind and still choosing to live. The story aired on the evening news. People came in the next day just to say thank you. 1 woman brought her son. He painted a blue dog with big eyes. I hung it on the wall. He smiled like he had given the world a gift. That's when I knew. This place wasn't just about art. It was about being seen, being heard, being enough. Every time someone walked in and said, I feel safe here, I felt stronger. Not healed, but stronger. And I knew I'd never be the same. But that was okay. Last Saturday, Sophie and I painted together. We sat on the floor of the studio, the windows wide open, letting in the soft spring wind. She dipped her brush in yellow and smiled. This is the sun, she said. It always comes back. I smiled too. We were working on a new piece. It would hang in the front window of Canvas of Courage. The title, Our Home, Our Way. Sophie drew 3 people, herself, me, and a woman with short brown hair. "Who's that?" I asked. She looked up. "It's you, Mom, after you got strong." My eyes burned, but I didn't cry. Later that evening, I stood at the door and looked at our little place, the warm lights, the quiet music, the wall full of color and stories. It wasn't the life I planned. It was better. I picked up my journal, the same one Maggie gave me. I wrote, "I used to want things to go back to how they were, before the pain, before the storm. But now I see the old life is gone, and that's okay. I'm not the same woman anymore, and I don't want to be. I found fire in the dark. I found peace in the wreckage. I found me." That night, as I tucked Sophie into bed, she looked at me and whispered, "You're happy now, right?" I brushed her hair back. "Yes, baby, I'm happy." "Even without Daddy?" I nodded. "Yes, because I have you, and I have me, and that's enough." She smiled and closed her eyes. I sat by the window for a while, watching the stars, and I knew something I hadn't. Sometimes the people who promise to stay are the ones who leave first. This story is not just about pain. It is about standing when the world falls. It is about finding your name again after someone else takes it away. When love turns its back, and even your own body feels like a stranger, you still have a choice. To stay, to rise. Emily did not win by fighting. She won by choosing peace over noise, truth over lies. She did not chase what left her. She built what stayed. With paint, with words, with love for her child and for herself. Storms come, but the sun comes too. And when it does, you learn that you don't need to go back to who you were. You can become someone new, someone real, someone who holds the brush now. And when you learn to hold the brush, you don't just color your world, you create it. Have you ever trusted someone so much that you didn't see the storm coming? Maybe you've smiled while breaking inside. Maybe you've stayed quiet to keep peace. Maybe, like Emily, you gave all you had and were left with almost nothing. But here's the part that matters. She didn't disappear. She didn't let the pain become the end. She stood up, slow but sure, and piece by piece, she made something new. Now, think about your own life. Who do you carry too much for? What part of yourself have you left behind just to keep someone else happy? And more than that, when was the last time you chose you? If this story made you feel something, even just a little, don't keep it to yourself. Someone out there may need this more than you know. A friend, a sister, a co-worker who smiles but never really laughs. Share this with them. You may not hear it back, but one day they might whisper, "That story helped me breathe." And they'll be thankful you did. Known before, I didn't just survive. I became, not because of Nathan, not because of pain, but because I chose to, and I'd choose it again, every single time. If you're listening right now, please take care of your body and your mind. You're stronger than you think, but you're not meant to do it all alone. If you're still with me, just drop a 7 in the comments. That way, I know your heart's still open and still fighting. That night, I slept for the first time in weeks, and in that sleep, I dreamed I could rise again. If you liked the story, comment number 7. If you think the story could be better, comment number 8. We are always here, working hard to bring you the best stories. Thank you for watching, our dear friends. Your support means everything to us. See you in the next story.